So Joel, 2-season pickup, that must, as a show creator, you've got to be in heaven right now.
Yeah, you know, it's the dream when you work on something to have it go this long and be able to continue the story for 4 seasons. When I pitched the first season to IFC, I sort of said, and this is where I think it would go in seasons 2 and 3, and I have an idea for where it could possibly go in season 4. And we're going to be able to do all of those things, and that's really exciting that, you know, we'll get to end the show whenever we want to end it on our own terms, it looks like. And that's just a luxury that, you know, in this business not a lot of shows are afforded. And it's really due to IFC being, you know, a big believer in the show and the fans who, you know, hopefully we'll be building them over time, but already the ones that are very passionate about the show and pin people you know, into corners and bars and tell them how much they like it. So
I'm one of them. So.
All right, thank you.
So from a process perspective as a writer, I would love to know what it was like to develop a show based around a character that already existed.
So I sort of, I didn't work on the original short that's on Funny or Die, but I started working with Hank on the character when we were at Funny or Die, and we would do appearances together. And so when they talked to me about sort of doing more with the character, I really looked at the short and the story of the short and what could that be, and I just thought it was a cold open. You know, it was a great introduction to a character, and then to make it into something else, you had to build a world around it and you had to ground it. And so the way to ground it to me was the reality of this man's pain and his alcoholism. And so that's really where we went with it, was to try to make it real. You know, the best transitions from sketch to you know, to film or TV have always done that. They've taken what initially is a thin premise and they've grounded it as much as they can. I remember when I was a kid watching the Wayne's World movie and thinking, how can they possibly do that as a movie? It's like a public access sketch, you know. And then it was about suburban kids who were dreaming of bigger things, and they made it relatable. And this is obviously not Wayne's World. We're going a little darker, a little more real, but the same idea of building out the world. And the key in season 1 was really Amanda Pete and their relationship. And you know, you get a great actress like Amanda, and you have her have chemistry with Hank. And you know, and you believe it. You buy it on screen, and you buy their love story. And so, you know, I think that sort of, that first season allowed us to sort of take chances in season 2, and we're going to take even more in season 3.
So we've talked kind of about comedy, the evolution of comedy, especially on television. There is so much more room for darkness and dramatic stakes in comedy now, which is, I'm here for it. I mean, TV's never been better, and you're contributing to that. But I would love to kind of hear, when you're discussing with your writers, like how to tip that scale. Do you look at it that way? Are you story first? Do you think about jokes? I'd love to kind of hear a little bit about that process.
I'm always story first. I consider myself a story person in the writer's room, and I want to follow an episodic narrative that thrills me, and I want to follow a season-long narrative, and how to balance that is something that can be tricky, but I try to do that sort of ahead of time. And then, you know, the main thing is, can you make it funny? Like, I want to do as many things as possible. I want to go to as many dark places as long as you can make it funny. You know, in season 1, I wanted to do an episode about abortion, and I knew, but how do we make abortion funny is what I always said. You know, it's a controversial topic, a lot of people have different things, and so, but I knew I wanted to have that as a story that between these two characters that allowed them to reach back and think about their lives and how they got there and what they meant to each other. But then how do we make it funny? And then our writer, Amanda Sicko, who wrote that episode, came up with, what if Brockmire snorts an abortion pill thinking it was cocaine? And I said, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what our show is. And so we did. I think we managed to figure out a way to make abortion funny. And some people might disagree. But watch the episode. I think we really do pull it off. So yeah, so we try to paint ourselves in the corner dramatically for what the story we want to tell, and then figure out a way to make that funny. Definitely.
Well, we love the show, and so excited there's 2 more seasons. I hope there's a ton more after that, Joel, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.